Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mary Pooton, Assistant Dean of Development for the University of Maryland School of Medicine. It is my great honor to welcome you here today to witness Dr. Isabel Lauren Jackson's installation as the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology. Thank you so much for joining us. Our investiture ceremonies have become one of the most meaningful celebrations at the School of Medicine. This important tradition allows the university community to come together to celebrate the wonderful achievements of one of our esteemed faculty members. It highlights that endowed professorships are among our top priorities and play a critical role in providing support for our faculty who are dedicated to improving human health. Today's ceremony is also one small way to convey the school's immense appreciation to our donors and to demonstrate the power of philanthropy. Now it's my privilege to introduce today's Master of Ceremonies, Dr. William Regine. Dr. Regine is the Isidore and Fanny Schneider Foxman Chair in Radiation Oncology here at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. William Regine.
Thank you for the introduction, Mary, and welcome to all of you on this very prestigious occasion. I especially like to welcome Lauren's family and friends. I promise you today, you have lots of reasons to be proud of. You'll be especially proud by the end of this ceremony, and I can tell you that we here at the University of Maryland School of Medicine are extremely proud of Lauren Jackson. I'll be serving today as the Master of Ceremonies, and I'd like to kick it off by introducing our Dean as the first speaker. So welcome to Dr. E. Albert Reese, Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and the John Z. and Akiko K. Bowers Distinguished Professor and Dean of the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Dean Reese.
Thank you, Dr. Regine, and thank you for your kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to this wonderful ceremony. Today we honor Dr. Isabel Jackson on the occasion of her investiture as the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology. We will also recognize the generosity of the Greenebaum Family Foundation for the creation of this endowed professorship. The gift of an endowed professorship maintains a unique function in sustaining scholarship and in advancing care in a particular field over decades and sometimes even over centuries. They highlight the esteemed position in which such gifts are held. Our first endowed professorship was established through a gift made in 1929 through the estate of John F.B. Weaver from the class of 1894. Over 90 years later, the impact of this first endowed professorship is palpable by everyone. Today, Dr. Richard Eckert holds the honor as the John F.B. Weaver Professor and Chair of the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, demonstrating the perpetuity of these gifts. Dr. Weaver set the precedent, which many others have followed, to bestow the University of Maryland School of Medicine with nearly 84 endowed chairs and professorships in various stages of completion, which are held by many faculty members. This time-honored tradition of endowed professorships, fueled by our visionary benefactors, endorse the School of Medicine's legacy of excellence. Every success we have enjoyed as an institution since the first gift can be largely attributed to the connection created by these gifts. A special relationship was established between the legacy of the donor, the career of the honoree, and the bedrock of this institution. Each endowment has enabled the department to excel and, by extension, the School of Medicine to flourish. Each endowment has delivered a prestigious level of dignity and distinction to a faculty member. Each endowment has provided a special space for a legacy to live. Each of these allocations have joined together over the years for the three-pronged award of life-saving discoveries, superior patient-centered care, and exceptional academic achievements on behalf of the School of Medicine and for the ultimate benefit of the citizens of Maryland and beyond. Over the course of today's program, you will hear from Dr. Jackson's colleagues and friends who will highlight her significant career accomplishments which have earned her the honor of joining this very special relationship with the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship of Radiation Oncology. Dr. Jackson, congratulations on your success and on the very special celebration of your career as we honor you for all your contributions to medicine and science. Before we move forward with this ceremony for Dr. Jackson, I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize the donor whose financial contribution made this professorship possible. On behalf of the entire School of Medicine, I wish to thank Mr. Michael Greenebaum and the Greenebaum Family Foundation for their generous contribution, which has established this endowed professorship. I'm very pleased that my good friend and School of Medicine board member, Mr. Michael Greenebaum, has joined us today for this event. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Michael Greenebaum to share remarks on behalf of the Greenebaum family.
Thank you, Dean Reese. It is truly an honor to be part of this investiture ceremony for Dr. Jackson. I'm honored to be here, even though it's virtual. But I look forward to getting together with everyone in person as we get through once we get through the pandemic, and spending some time with Dr. Jackson. I read your bio and became familiar with some of the papers that you wrote and your research. Just reading the titles alone, I realized I don't understand really what you do, although it's very important work, especially when it related to defense and radiation poisoning. It's very interesting, so I'm really looking forward to learning more about what you do exactly. I do know that you're probably the doctor I really don't want to see, but if I stood in front of the microwave long enough, I know I would go run to you. You are an expert in this field, and it's just such a great honor that you will be continuing the work in radiation oncology that really we were involved with Dr. Sunta, and to have you receive this professorship means a lot to our family. It meant a lot to my dad when Dr. Sunta received the professorship, and you will now be joining him. And what I love about the professorships is that they really endure, and we get to see the transition of research. And I know that what you're doing is so important to everyone. I couldn't be prouder to the fact that you are with University of Maryland and the School of Medicine. I couldn't be prouder to have such a fine recipient continue with the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship in Radiation Oncology. So on behalf of the Greenebaum family, congratulations, Dr. Jackson, in receiving the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship in Radiation Oncology. And I would encourage that anybody who is thinking about getting involved with bestowing a professorship to just do it, because it's really the best investment you can make. It really endures over the years, and it will pay back returns and help people that you can't even imagine now once the research comes to fruition. So it is a great way of giving, and you never know how it might come back and help you and you or even your loved ones. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It is an honor and a privilege and a genuine pleasure to be here today for the investiture of Dr. Lauren Jackson, an associate professor in our department as the Marlene and Stewart Greenebaum Endowed Professor in Radiation Oncology. My only regret is that we can't be together in person to mark this extraordinary occasion for such an extraordinary person. Like all of you, I'm hopeful that we will be able to do so in the near and brighter future. This well-deserved recognition has been made possible by the continued generosity and involvement of the Greenebaum family, in particular Michael Greenebaum. The family previously endowed and continues to support the similarly named professorship for Dr. Mohan Sunta. As you know, Dr. Sunta is a professor in our department, now serving as president and CEO of the University of Maryland Medical System. We are the only department at the University of Maryland School of Medicine to have the good fortune of 2 Greenebaum endowed professors. Someone asked me if this might cause confusion. I simply replied, if so, it's the kind of confusion I'm happy to have. Lauren came to us in 2012 in something of a package deal. She was a part of our recruitment of Dr. Željko Vojošković, MD, PhD from Duke University to head our radiobiology program. Dr. Vojošković told us he had this remarkable young researcher who could do it all: productive and goal-directed research, effective administrative management, the ability to network across institutional, regulatory, and industry boundaries, and amazing academic productivity in synthesizing research results and moving to next step applications. Now, as chair, frankly, I hear these words of glowing assessments about prospective lab members' hires a lot. 8 years later, with experience and hindsight, I can say that if anything, Dr. Vojošković undersold Dr. Jackson's abilities and potential. Excuse me. Together, they founded our now internationally recognized Division of Translational Radiation Sciences, otherwise known as DTRS, created a thriving and vital lab that works at the cutting edge of radiation countermeasure research with an ultimate aim of benefiting patients worldwide receiving radiation therapy for their cancer treatment. Initiated and sustained a diverse and growing stream of funding support and made the University of Maryland School of Medicine a national and world focus for the radiation research community. Lauren today is an associate professor in our department with tenure pending later this year and deputy director of our DTRS. She is the founder and director of the division's internationally recognized medical countermeasures program. She has been the PI or co-PI on more than $45 million in federal and industry funding, with more undoubtedly to come. I'm thrilled to be able to spend a little time today looking back at how Lauren came to be a leader in her field and a role model for tomorrow's radiation research scientists. Lauren was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and grew up in the state. It comes as no surprise to those who know her that she was active, inquisitive, intelligent, and charming. Although her early academic interests focused on journalism as an undergraduate at North Carolina State in Raleigh, she became interested in microbiology, in part because of the very broad potential applications of new knowledge and techniques in this field. She completed her undergraduate degree in microbiology at North Carolina State in Raleigh in 2006. What is remarkable about this is that she had already begun research with Dr. Vojošković's group at Duke in the summer of 2004. She had earlier contacted radiation biologists at Duke with questions about angiogenesis as part of a research paper she was writing for a neurobiology class. This led to summer work with Dr. Vojošković and others in Duke's normal tissue lab, of which she soon became a valued full status member. Even before receiving her bachelor's degree, Lauren had already published her first peer-reviewed article as first author and as the winner of the 2006 New Investigator Award from the Society of Thermal Medicine. She continued as a technician and member of the normal tissue lab at Duke from 2004 until 2008, when she began her PhD work in pathology at Duke. In the lab, she conducted research, wrote papers and grant proposals, and presented results at national and international meetings. By the time of the award of her doctorate from Duke in 2002, she had co-authored 18 peer-reviewed papers on radiation sensitivity, radiation-associated lung injury, and animal models, and other topics that would define her future research career. She also served as a visiting scientist in the Institute of Pathology at the University of Zagreb School of Medicine in Croatia and as a research scholar in the Department of Radiation Oncology at Duke. Her doctoral thesis was on molecular mechanisms regulating pulmonary sensitivity to radiation and proved to be a seminal and influential contribution to the field. I am told by our other Duke-trained faculty members that at least one basketball-associated image is required. Also, that if you don't know how to pronounce Coach K's name, you don't know NCAA basketball. Lauren remains an enthusiastic Duke roundball fan. It became clear as soon as Jelko and Lauren arrived in our department in 2012, they would bring renewed vigor and unprecedented academic and scientific success to our radiation research activities at Maryland. Lauren's skills in planning, organizing, strategic hiring, and networking with other departments and sources for institutional support soon became apparent. Under the DTRS umbrella in HSF1, the lab soon had a thriving group of bench and basic scientists, support staff, and faculty members, and Jelko and Lauren presented a carefully defined 5-year plan for success. I should note that they easily surpassed all the targeted metrics in this ambitious plan. The plan was unusual in its focus. From the beginning, Jelko and Lauren have maintained that the traditional radiation oncology research model dependent on sequential NIH grant support is inherently risky, based as it is on discrete mechanisms defined by agency goals that may change or evolve and by federal budget allocations that may be unpredictable. Instead, they wanted to create a mixed model based on that of corporate or contract research organizations, characterized by proven readiness for highly specialized research, rapid scale up, documented abilities for on-time, on-budget deliverables, and a willingness to collaborate beyond institutional and geographic boundaries. As a result, the DTRS labs today have contracts, many long-term and renewable, with industry, other academic institutions, and federal agencies, while also achieving extraordinary success in securing conventional NIH funding support. Lauren was key in organizing this effort and continues to oversee its success and growing influence as a model for other academic research labs. As director of the DTRS Medical Countermeasures Program, Lauren was responsible for working with the School of Medicine to create an independent quality systems office to oversee quality assurance for laboratories operating in compliance with the FDA Good Laboratory Practice regulations. In this process, I would add, our dean has become to appreciate Lauren's formidable ability to advocate for our DTRS and its ultimate vision of benefiting cancer patients worldwide. She has had sole responsibility for capturing all new federally sponsored contracts and awards for the Medical Countermeasures Program since 2015 from the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Disease, National Institutes of Health, and the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, RADNUC Animal Model Development, Indefinite Deliverable, Indefinite Quantity contract at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, as well as for hiring and managing the appropriate talent to successfully building, overseeing, and executing the many federal and industry-sponsored contracts and research grants. The management strategy Lauren designed and executed has led to a sustained annual growth rate of 50 to 60% in each year starting in 2016 as her laboratory's international reputation for operational and scientific excellence grew. These efforts resulted in more than $45 million in new awards with $20 million in potential option years over the coming 5-year period. She serves as principal investigator or co-investigator or director in each of these awards. Most recently, she wrote and coordinated submission of the proposal that led to our designation as a NIAID NIH Center for Medical Countermeasures Against Radiation, with Jelko as the PI with more than $12 million in funding as a 5-year U grant. She continues as the PI for a broad range of industry and federal research. Examples from the last few months include an Innovation Pathways LLC subcontract to NIAID and a contract with Eagle Pharmaceuticals. Dr. Jackson's CV lists almost 30 active and completed grants and contracts, with a number of others currently pending. Bear in mind that these have been accrued in just the 8 years after completion of her terminal degree. This is simply remarkable. She is not only a masterful grant and contract writer, but a keen observer of the funding landscape, identifying new opportunities and potential collaborations. Her academic research is focused on improving the ability to translate findings from preclinical models to clinical radiation therapy applications to improve the care of cancer patients, particularly the approximately 60% of all cancer patients who receive radiation therapy as part of their care. She has published extensively on the characterization and refinement of animal models of radiation-induced normal tissue injury that recapitulate the response in humans. Models developed in her lab have gone on to receive FDA concurrence as appropriate for the use in medical countermeasure screens for radiation pneumonitis or fibrosis, and have since been used to screen medical countermeasures for industry, NIAID, NIH, and BARDA-sponsored contracts. She has published more than 60 peer-reviewed articles and 5 book chapters. Lauren has presented her findings at national and international scientific conferences, academic institutions, NIH-sponsored workshops, and to the FDA. Her groundbreaking work in animal models elucidating the role of vascular injury, coagulopathy, and thrombocytopenia in multi-organ dysfunction and failure following total body radiation in rabbits, mini pigs, and non-human primates has led to a paradigm shift in our understanding and approach to treatment of acute radiation injury and toward more rational selection of medical countermeasures. These and other data from her lab are moving the radiation field away from focusing on organ-specific injury towards the systemic effects of irradiation and organ-to-organ interactions. Compounds or drugs identified through her research have great potential in improving the care of cancer patients undergoing radiation therapy, especially in protecting surrounding normal tissue exposed to radiation. On a personal note, while leading the DTRS lab to new heights of success, Lauren manages to maintain an encyclopedic knowledge of world events, politics, and the broader world of science, and is a dedicated world traveler and adventurer. For a number of years, she has spent parts of each summer in Europe, particularly in Croatia, where she has learned the language and developed an affinity for the culture and pace of life. She also travels widely, presenting the University of Maryland at scientific meetings. At many of these meetings, she has worked to bring together members of her wide circle of research collaborators from academia, industry, and federal regulators to look forward to new projects. Even in the pandemic year, she has remained active in presenting and participating in national and international meetings. I should add that Lauren has done a masterful job of maintaining her lab's readiness during these challenging times for research. She serves on UMB President Bruce Gerald's Recovery Task Force for COVID-19 as a member of the UMB Research Advisory Task Force to guide campus reopening and near, mid, and long-term research recovery. NIH confidence in her lab's activities was seen with the provision of special bridge funding to ensure that the lab could be maintained with personnel and projects intact during the pandemic. Lauren is increasingly called on to speak in the media outside academic and strictly scientific circles, having given STEM talks, radio and print interviews, and appearing on Bill Nye's The Science Guy show to talk about the effects of radiation. She has also continued to maintain strong esprit de corps for her lab group with regularly scheduled as well as informal Zooms as they prepare for a future return to the labs. Lauren remains close with her family, to whom we owe a debt of gratitude for raising such a stellar human being. The Jackson family should be extremely proud of the role model person Lauren has become for us all. Lauren is a valued member of our radiation oncology family, both respected and beloved. She is still relatively early in her academic career with extraordinary promise for growth and continued excellence that is likely to result in continued expansion, significant external investment, and scientific discovery with the potential to benefit cancer patients and extend the boundaries of our understanding of radiation biology. The award of the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship in Radiation Oncology will undoubtedly sustain and encourage her in these efforts and ensure the success of her work as a leader in translating radiation science into life-saving and life-giving innovations. Lauren, thank you for all you have done for our department and all you do in advancing the science of radiation research and improving the lives of cancer patients worldwide. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Mohan Sunta. Dr. Sunta is the president and CEO of the University of Maryland Medical System. He is also a faculty within the Department of Radiation Oncology at the School of Medicine. Dr. Sunta has served as the inaugural recipient of the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship and has served it with great distinction and has achieved national recognition for his contributions to the care of cancer patients around the world. Dr. Sunta.
As the inaugural Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology, it gives me profound pleasure to recognize Dr. Lauren Jackson as the second Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology. Dr. Jackson's career and accomplishments are obviously worthy of such recognition, as she has helped transform the Department of Radiation Oncology into a premier, nationally recognized department that is known for its commitment and successes across the tripartite mission. Most notably, she is recognized as a national thought leader in research associated with advancing the science of radiation biology and the impact that that understanding can have on the care of our cancer patients. When I think about Stewart Greenebaum, I can't help but think that he and Marlene would be proud to know that their name is associated with such an accomplished scientist. Because when I think about the original gift the Greenebaum family made to the Department of Radiation Oncology, it was in recognition of the resources required to truly differentiate not just the Department of Radiation Oncology, but the entire cancer center on a national and international scale. And in recognizing Dr. Jackson's accomplishment, I believe that we are paying tribute to the legacy of Marlene Stewart Greenebaum and the entire Greenebaum family. I'm humbled to continue to be able to serve as a Greenebaum professor in the Department of Radiation Oncology, but I am equally humbled to have my name associated with the likes of Dr. Lauren Jackson. So on behalf of the department, on behalf of the School of Medicine and the entire health system, Dr. Jackson, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Sunta. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Marco Ciccone. Dr. Ciccone and Dr. Jackson met several years ago when he became the VP of Industrial Alliances for the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and visited here at the Department of Radiation Oncology and was introduced to Dr. Jackson. Since then, Dr. Chacon has served as a mentor and friend of Dr. Jackson. Dr. Chacon.
Hello, everyone. It is with humility and great joy that I add my voice to this wonderful celebratory chorus in recognition of Dr. Lauren Jackson. Unlike my fellow speakers, however, I've spent my career in the private sector, chasing the arc of the biotechnology rainbow, which in a few decades has revolutionized therapeutics, vaccinology, and has brought forth the promise of gene and cell therapies. During this wonderful journey, I have worked for and with scores of brilliant university and industry PIs, have hired dozens of scientists and engineers, and my greatest joy has always been mentoring and influencing young people as they earn themselves positions of importance and consequence within and outside of my own organization. Only occasionally, however, I would come across a truly special individual, possessing spark in her or his eyes, smart, creative, and superbly productive. Well, Lauren Jackson is one of those individuals, driven by higher order values and standards, which are the hallmarks of true leadership and excellence. These include confidence, but with humility, courage and conviction to deal with barriers and adversity, integrity, passion for science, collaborative in the marketplace of ideas, and certainly hard work. Importantly, we also recognize in Professor Jackson a disarming optimism sprinkled with a healthy dose of a wicked sense of humor. Therefore, it is not surprising to any of us that the wonderful Marlene and Stewart Greenebaum Foundation has bestowed upon you such an honor, an endowed professorship, and so early in your career. This distinction brings honor to you, to your family, and our beloved UMB, and in so doing, places you as a member of a very select guild of radiation scientists and other specialties, trailblazers in the tradition of Madame Curie, Rosalind Franklin, and many others who have illuminated fundamental principles of physics, chemistry, and biology. It makes me very happy to witness today how the proverbial torch of scholarship and wisdom is placed in your capable hands, and given your chosen passion for all things radioactivity, the ancient oracle describes as a sort of manifest destiny new research insights of consequence to the Radiation Oncology Clinic, discovery of medical countermeasures, and interventions to protect our heroes in uniform and the astronaut corps. I would be remiss, however, if I did not point out that this wonderful award takes on a special meaning during this terrible moment in human history, as we lay to rest hundreds of thousands of Americans and other innocent human beings throughout the world. While this pall of death and economic uncertainty for so many will visit us again tomorrow and well into the new year, let us reflect, however, on the significance of today's investiture and recognize that, at the end of the day, scholarship and scientific excellence, as exemplified in today's worthy recipient, is the only way to ensure, as proclaimed by the Broadway musical, that the sun will come out tomorrow. Furthermore, this special day gives us a great opportunity to recommit ourselves to the very foundation of our collective love for science, which it is indeed the pursuit of the truth, a precious commodity that today has been battered, distorted, and maligned by fools and unscrupulous politicians pushing a brand of ethical relativism. Congratulations, Professor Jackson. Lauren, we are all very proud of you and are thrilled to call you colleague and friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chacon. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Terry Rogers. Dr. Terry Rogers met Dr. Jackson as she was establishing the division's BARDA, NIAID, and industry-funded program in medical countermeasures. Together, Dr. Rogers and Dr. Jackson established an independent quality assurance unit to oversee the program's compliance with the FDA regulations for non-clinical testing of new therapeutics. And Dr. Rogers has become a fundamental partner for Dr. Jackson's success. Dr. Rogers.
Well, thank you, Dr. Regine, for the introduction. And it is a pleasure, in fact, a great honor for me to celebrate on this happy occasion of the investiture of Dr. Isabel Lauren Jackson. I know she goes as Lauren, but I think of her as Isabel. And I first encountered her a number of years ago during a site visit that for a large federal contract that was being organized. And I was asked to attend this meeting, present greetings from the dean's office, and provide institutional support for this effort. And it was at that meeting that I first encountered a young assistant professor who was, in fact, very confident, seemed to be an expert in the field of radiation research, was great at organizing the meeting, and was, in fact, a brilliant scientist who gave a great talk as well. And I was very impressed with this person, this young person. And she was, in fact, the glue that seemed to hold the whole site visit together. And of course, that was Isabel, as I learned later. So over the years, I've worked with her on many projects. And I'm not only greatly impressed with her, but I've grown to have a deep admiration for her and her contributions to our school. She's a very energetic young woman. She writes lots of grants. She networks. She's a very enterprising and bright scientist. So she's developed a reputation. But what I think is really special about her is that she's a great team builder. Not all scientists can put together teams and get large cohorts of faculty and technicians, et cetera, to work together. And she's really phenomenal at that. And so with all her efforts, bringing in lots of money, lots of contracts, both corporate, federal, national ones, the Division of Translational Research Sciences has really grown into a preeminent center for research in radiation countermeasures, recognized not only in our country, but internationally. I've worked with Isabel over the years. She's grown in stature as well. As you know, she's been promoted as associate professor. She serves on a series of important institutional committees, such as the Institutional Review Board. And so she's been very generous with her time. She's a really great colleague in that way. She brings great insight. I always free to ask for advice, and she gives it freely and with, as I say, with a lot of insight. And so we work together on many projects. And I've just been very impressed and come to rely on her in many ways. As I say, organization is one of her great skills, and she's over the years kept me organized even when I don't want to be so. So she is a terrific colleague in that way. You know, during this pandemic, we all have missed out on doing things that we like and need to do. And one of the things that I miss are my Friday afternoon sessions with Lauren and Zelko sometimes at a local watering hole for glasses of wine. And at that time, you know, as I've learned, Lauren has a great sense of humor. She's just a lot of fun. And we always look forward to those get-togethers. So not only do we laugh about the goofy stuff that's going on, but we also, it seems after 2 or 3 glasses of wine, seem to have solved all the problems in the School of Medicine, or at least that's what we think. So at this point, I just want to say, congratulations, Isabel. This is a well-deserved recognition. You have grown so much since I've been here, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. And frankly, the School of Medicine is very fortunate to have you. So congratulations to you and your family and your friends. And I'm so pleased to be part of this today and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Zelko Vojošković. It is obvious hopefully from my presentation, Dr. Vojošković has been a primary mentor and a wonderful role model as an academician who has achieved a wonderful level of excellence in contributing to the care of patients and in the contributions of radiation research. Dr. Vojošković brought Dr. Jackson here as a partner with him in 2012, and together they have grown our division of translational radiation sciences into an internationally recognized site for research in efforts to improve the therapeutic ratio in cancer treatment and the care of cancer patients, as well as preparedness for potential radiologic nuclear incidents. So Dr. Vojošković, we'd love to hear your kind words related to Dr. Jackson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to talk today about Isabel Lauren Jackson. Dr. Jackson is an exceptional scientist and a friend of mine, and I'm extremely proud and excited about her getting this tremendous recognition, which is very well deserved. I met Dr. Jackson about 18 years ago when I was at Duke University. I got a phone call from a colleague of mine, Dr. Mark Ducris, who called me and said, hey, I have this undergraduate student in my office who really wants to do some research and I don't have any spots. Do you have any spots? Can you come and meet her? Maybe you can put her in her lab. So I was really reluctant, but went there, and on my way there, I was thinking, hey, I have already several undergraduate students. I'll be polite, but I'm not going to be able to do that. So I went there and I met this young, enthusiastic student, and I see in her eyes tremendous excitement about the opportunity to work in the lab, to get introduced to science. And I just couldn't say no. And I said, well, let me see. So I invited her to come with me to my lab, to introduce her to the lab and see whether there are some opportunities for her there to work. And on the way there, she couldn't stop talking. She talked about science, about research, about cancer treatment. And she kept referring to this Dr. Colley, who is surgeon from the beginning of 20th century, so excited about this Colley toxin and the way how this toxin and fever can introduce anti-tumor response. And she went on and on and on. And I was just taken away by her a knowledge of the subject, which I didn't know much about that. And her time that she spent reading all these paper understanding, that was very telling to me. So immediately understood that I have somebody who is really enthusiastic about science. And that enthusiasm that she showed that first day that I met her lasted through all these 18 years that I know Dr. Jackson, and we work closely together at Duke as well as University of Maryland. Dr. Jackson has enormous working ethics. She can work tirelessly 10, 12 hours in a row without stopping eating if something needs to be done. On one occasion, we have a deadline, one of the projects that we have to submit proposal, and Dr. Jackson was in Europe, and I was in contact with her and said, hey, we will not be able to do that. And she said, no, we'll make it. So she went on the plane, and on the way back on this 10-hour flight, she worked straight hours on this proposal, which subsequently got funded. But then he developed this nerve injury in her elbow just because she spent so much time in the plane, in the seat, and working on her computer just to meet this deadline. Just tells how much working ethics and determination she had when it comes to research. She's exceptionally organized, and natural for her was to move and do her PhD, which she did successfully at Duke. And through this work on her thesis, she showed leadership skills, organizational skills, and also compassion for science that I haven't seen in any of previous students or mentees that I was lucky to be mentor for years. Coming to University of Maryland, really Dr. Jackson's career flourished as she took a leadership of in our division, translational radiation sciences, where she really became a key leader and one of the critical member of our team that led this effort in developing number of drugs. I just mentioned that some of these drugs that Dr. Jackson worked over years were now in clinical trials and hopefully will be able to help cancer patients. But more than anything, Lauren is exceptional human being who is well-rounded. You can talk to her about politics, history, culture, art, and she's passionate as well about knowledge in any fields as much as she is in her research. And she is extremely empathetic and understanding. She takes care of the people in the lab. She really has a personal relation with each member of her lab and making sure that they are well taken care of. So I'm, again, extremely proud and happy that my long-term colleague, partner in research, and good friend, Dr. Lauren Jackson, is receiving this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijaskovic, for your kind and insightful words. It is now time to move forward with our ceremony to honor Dr. Jackson. Dr. Jackson, I'm delighted to present to you one of the School of Medicine's and the university's highest honors, and that is this endowed professorship. This honor acknowledges your career accomplishments and contributions to our academic community. I know that your peers and colleagues in attendance today and throughout the School of Medicine widely agree that you are most deserving of this honor. I'm now pleased to present to you this medallion, which signifies that you have now become the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology. I hope that you will proudly display this medallion and wear it publicly at major events such as investiture ceremonies, convocations, and commencements. Dr. Jackson, would you please address the audience at this time? Congratulations and thank you.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank all of you who took the time out of your busy schedules to be here with me today for this virtual investiture ceremony. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the Greenebaum family, Dean Reese, Dr. Sunta, Dr. Regine, and Dr. Voyashkovich for the honor of being named the second Stewart and Marlene Greenebaum Professor of Radiation Oncology. It goes without saying that I am deeply overwhelmed and humbled and shocked by this generous recognition of my contributions to the University of Maryland School of Medicine and to the field of radiation oncology and biology. Since joining the University of Maryland School of Medicine in 2012, Dean Reese, Dr. Regine, and Dr. Voyashkovich have provided me with the resources, support, and encouragement to execute our vision for the Division of Translational Radiation Sciences and grow it to become one of the most successful programs in radiation research in the world. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rogers and Louisa Peartree for their support, as well as Dr. Chacon for his mentorship over the years. While this is a personal honor and recognition, I want to share this with our entire Division of Translational Radiation Sciences team, many of whom are in attendance today. Without the blood, sweat, and tears of our dedicated and passionate staff, the division would not have achieved worldwide recognition for its efforts to improve the therapeutic ratio in clinical radiation therapy and save lives in a nuclear and/or radiological incident. Be assured that I do not say this lightly or as a standard token of appreciation for our team. I stand here before you today because of their individual and collective efforts to execute our vision and ensure our division's success. Without their efforts in the laboratory to keep studies on scope, on schedule, and on budget, as well as our quality control team to ensure the highest data integrity and reproducibility, I would not have the opportunity or ability to pursue new career challenges or to further expand upon our division's success. As I tell my staff, we all rise together. Since the Middle Ages, investiture ceremonies have symbolized the pursuit of knowledge. From a young age, I was curious about the world around me. I was born with an innate thirst for knowledge, and I sought answers through literature, encyclopedias, textbooks, wherever I could find it. My pursuit of knowledge drove me to receive a college education at the North Carolina State University, and later a doctoral degree at Duke University. Go Blue Devils. While formal education bestows knowledge in the humanities and sciences, the world around us, the environment within which we're raised, the places we travel, the cultures with whom we interact, and the people we meet along the way bestow a larger understanding of the human spirit for which we derive our fundamental value system, and my experiences have certainly influenced my career in leadership. I've been blessed throughout my life, really blessed, to have met wonderful friends far and wide who inspire me, who encourage me, who love me. I've been blessed with a family who grounds me, and I've been blessed with mentors and sponsors who taught me, promoted me, and advanced my career. I, of course, don't have time to acknowledge all of them here today, as there are far too many, but would like to name a few. We are all familiar with the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child," and likewise, it takes a village to raise an academic scientist. My journey has certainly been serendipitous. Dr. Hosni Hassan, the department chair for microbiology at NC State University, was a mentor during my undergraduate years. He encouraged my burgeoning love of science. Up to that point, I'd intended to pursue a degree in political science and ultimately law, as I was very much interested in nuclear nonproliferation. After reading A Commotion in the Blood, Life, Death, and the Immune System, I became interested in novel cancer therapies, including fever therapy, or as we know it now, hyperthermia. This interest soon drove me to Duke University, where I met Dr. Voyashkovich. My years at Duke as a technician and as a graduate student were formative in my career. I received a well-rounded classical education that addressed my continuing thirst for knowledge, marrying bench science with contract research, pharmaceutical development, and federal regulations. In 2012, I was given the opportunity to join the University of Maryland School of Medicine as an assistant professor. Here, I further honed my skills in strategy development and execution, leadership and management, and radiation sciences. I can't thank Dean Reese and Dr. Regina enough for the opportunities they have provided me that have kept me constantly engaged, challenged, and enthusiastic to come to work each and every day. I always say that culture starts at the top, and the University of Maryland School of Medicine has extraordinary leadership. It's very rare to find an institution who provides the resources needed to excel and the bumper guards within which to grow as a junior faculty. In turn, any achievements that I have are as much theirs as they are mine. I'm eternally grateful to their unconditional support, encouragement, and opportunities. I'm also grateful to Dr. Voyashkovich, Dr. Julian Down, and John McManus for all they've done for me throughout my entire career. I unfortunately never had the pleasure of meeting Stewart or Marlene Greenebaum. However, in accepting this endowment in their name, I wanted to spend some time learning about these generous philanthropists who've given so much to the University of Maryland, to our Cancer Center, to the Department of Radiation Oncology, and of course to the Baltimore community. Several years ago, in a tribute upon Mrs. Greenebaum's passing, Dr. Suntha described the family matriarch as a strong spirit with a sense of purpose. To this end, I pledged to direct this endowment to carry forward the spirit, purpose, and legacy of Mr. and Mrs. Greenebaum by promoting the values and ideals the family has championed. To whom much is given, much is owed, and I am committed to always taking a thoughtful approach towards the use of these dollars the Greenebaum family have so generously donated to our department and our institution. In closing this out, I wish to thank once again the Greenebaum family for their generous support of the University of Maryland School of Medicine, the Cancer Center, and the Department of Radiation Oncology. I thank once again Dean Reese, Dr. Suntha, Dr. Regine, and Dr. Voyashkovich for this honor for which I don't deserve. And finally, I thank my team for whom I rely on each and every day to ensure we meet the expectations of those who've entrusted us to improve the therapeutic ratio in radiation cancer treatment and save lives in a nuclear and/or radiological accident. I thank my team for standing beside me in support of our division's goals, for helping to maintain my sanity, and for lighting the scientific spark each day. Thank you all for being here.
Dr. Jackson, congratulations on this honor. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening and honoring Dr. Jackson with the Marlene Stewart Greenebaum Professorship. And while this was a virtual event, Lauren, I do very much to look forward for all of us getting together and celebrating in person with you. In the meantime, I'd ask that you and everyone be safe and have a wonderful evening. Take care.